What's going on, my friends? Hope you're having an amazing week so far. As always, my name is Anomaly. Just listen and consider to what I'm saying. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to believe it. But I think I provide a unique and a very healthy perspective that's not going around on mainstream media. So at bare minimum, just listen and consider what I'm saying. As always, you can follow me on Instagram too at DreamRare. You can follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. Check out my website, legendary.vision. I got music, poetry, and also some other cool news analysis. And of course, stay tuned on Facebook for some of my other live streams. Thank you guys so much for joining. And as always, if you're new, I just want to say listen and consider what I'm saying. We have one narrative that's aggressively being pushed down our throat. It's been pushed down our throat for generations. I thought this is what we all knew. The news lies to us. They fearmonger. They put a microscope and a magnifying glass on negative events. They don't tell you when something happens that's not so divisive. They wait for an event, talk about it forever. They want to divide us, divide and conquer. We've been doing it to ourselves. It's not even just the politicians and the media. We do it to ourselves. Even when politicians and news aren't present, we have this obsession with being egotistical, with being stubborn, with closing our ears and just knowing what we know and not listening. So I think we all could do a better job on that. Now I want to talk about three things, which is the statue madness going on in our country, Steve Bannon out at the White House, and the troops in Afghanistan. So first I want to talk about Steve Bannon, who is out at the White House, and I heard what the news said about him. People always ask me, Anomaly, how do you come up with your analysis? I listen to everybody. I listen to the person themselves in full context. I don't just look at little clip up, love pieces or hate pieces that people put together. I try to get to the bulk of who they really are, not what warped perspective somebody has on them, whether it's the all being, oh, they're perfect perspective, or the, oh my God, they're terrible, they're racist, and everybody they hate the world. So, Steve Bannon, unfortunately, now that he's out, a lot of mainstream news are saying what many people have known the whole time is, regardless of what they say about Bannon, he was actually very anti-war and anti-imperialism. He was all about keeping to ourselves. So he was actually, when it comes to foreign policy, one of the most peaceful, if not the most peaceful person in the White House. And unfortunately, if you haven't noticed yet, even if you hate Donald Trump, have you not noticed the fact that they hate the person? They're racist, they're sexist, they're xenophobic, they're terrible, they're horrible. And then as soon as they leave the White House, all of the news starts telling you, oh, no, they're good. James Comey's perfect. He's great. Trump's terrible. Jeff Sessions is amazing. He can't be fired. Oh, Steve Bannon, he's actually really not an interventionist, and he wants peace more than a lot of other people. So once again, you've been duped on Steve Bannon. I watched the hit pieces on him. I watched a 40-minute speech of his. I didn't see any racism. I didn't see any sexism or xenophobia. I saw a semi-rational person, whether I agree or disagree with a lot of his policies. I can't help but think everything the news said about him the past, year or 2 years has been a lie. I never wanted to read Breitbart because I consider myself clearly not a racist. I have friends and family from all different ethnicities. I like to learn, and all cultures have something to provide, all races, all religions. I'm truly grateful to connect with so many amazing people. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to read Breitbart. But his news source that I believe he founded and he's going to go back and write for, they don't really say anything that racist. They pick like 2 or 3 headlines. It's not a neo-Nazi organization. I started looking at it over the past 2-3 months. I look at everything, and they just provide an alternative perspective on something that clearly the news lies about. But anyway, my take on Steve Bannon, and I think it possibly has something to do with Afghanistan, because the day that Steve Bannon's out, and this is something you're not going to hear on any other news. I'm not saying that you have to believe it or agree with it. I really don't care. I would love to hear some intelligent discussion, but consider it, because the day or 2 days after Steve Bannon leaves, Donald Trump announces that he's going to deploy more troops to Afghanistan. And I can't help but think possibly that Steve Bannon maybe left, resigned, or had it at his ends because of that. This is something that probably Steve Bannon wouldn't want to do. I want to remind people, I don't just sit in my echo chamber, I listen to all sides, and most Trump supporters, over half of them, I've seen a bunch of polls on pro-Trump pages, they're against the war just as much, if not more, than your classic liberals. I think a lot of progressives are against the war. I don't really like titles, but this picture that people are painting of Trump supporters is very unfair and very untrue, because almost all of them are anti-racism. Almost all of them are war and want peace and love and unity. It's a total lie that they don't. But to stick with Bannon, I think he's leaving the White House, and he is going to be even more effective in the sense of fighting the mainstream media. I saw the quotes. I think he's going to keep doing what he thinks is best for the American people and his, ideology or whatnot. But as far as Afghanistan, I'm torn. I don't know what the right answer is. I do think that it was related. Once Steve Bannon's out, maybe he was just like, you know what, I don't agree with this. But I have two thoughts about Afghanistan, and I'm not a full-on expert about the Middle East and everything. I know a lot more than probably most people, but as far as Afghanistan, I'm not as familiar as I am with Syria and other places. But I think there's two options. I think either Donald Trump is getting kind of turned to the agenda of the people that don't want him in, because you see, as soon as Donald Trump talks about, oh, Afghanistan, we're going to send more troops, but we're going to be effective, you see John McCain is super happy, and all of these politicians are super thrilled, like, I totally agree with him. This is something that I would love people to understand outside of the realm that want to hate Trump all the time. Look at the only times the media and the only time your John McCain's and your politicians like that, the only time they ever support Donald Trump is when he does something that increases the military-industrial complex. So you're playing yourself. If you think Donald Trump is the only problem in the world, if you think he is the worst thing to ever happen to the United States, the only time these people ever agree with him is when he starts more war or sells more weapons. So, wake up to that reality. This is the reason he won. It's not because everybody's terrible and racist. We had 8 years of a black president. We realized that they were the same as Bush and Obama and Clinton. It was all the same. We're trying something different. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but there's very little racist about it. There's some fringe, stupid people in Charlottesville, and it's not our fault that you're so dumb that the same media that started wars and civil wars in Ukraine and Libya and Syria and Iraq, when none of you cared, all the social justice warriors, all the heroes, all the celebrities saying, oh my God, everybody that doesn't agree with me is racist, you're getting played by the same media that literally started wars and hid wars in all of those countries. So are you a warmonger? Are you a complete moron? Are you just doing it to be trendy and get likes and be cool in the industry so you can do shows and act, cool and tight? Or are you really that big of a moron? I'm not sure. But when it comes to Afghanistan, I think there's two options. I think either the deep state, quote unquote, is getting their way. They're, telling Trump to push on there, or to be honest, I also think it's a possibility. I'm not jumping all off ship saying, oh, he's completely off. I do think it's a possibility that we do need to deploy more troops, be effective, and then come out of Afghanistan and, essentially, quote unquote, win there. I know it sounds wild to people. I know a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but some people mention me, Anomaly, you do too much of this, too much of that. I'm not telling you anything for an agenda. I don't have an agenda. I'm calling it like it is. I'm just calling the shots as I see them. I am. If it goes in the favor of Trump, that's cool. If it goes against him, that's cool. I'm calling it like it is. Before Donald Trump, this is 100% the truth, 120% the truth. Before Donald Trump even got into office, my thoughts as a very peaceful person, some people would call me a hippie, whatever. I want peace. I want love. I want unity. I want prosperity. I'm not naive. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. So I've known forever, even before Donald Trump, if we have a trustworthy president, we have somebody that really wants to create peace, it's going to be a multi-layered solution. It just is. No matter how many, hippies get mad at me, no matter how many people that are spiritual and loving get mad at me for this, I don't care, because I'm not saying it because Trump's president. I've thought this way for 5-6 years. It just hasn't come to the point where I've said it, because we've never had a president that I've actually trusted or that I thought could get the job done. But my reality, I know most people that say, oh, no war, we got to stop right now, just take everything out. Unfortunately, that's just not the way the world is. I know a lot of progressive sites do it. I know a lot of, this and that sites do it. That's cool. That's their lane. I respect that. I listen to their opinion. I listen to their perspective. I consider it. But I just personally, I don't think so. I think in order to get out of the Middle East and really create peace there, it's going to be a multi-layer strategy. So at some point, we're going to have to send more troops in, or else what are we going to do? Send more drones in? Between Obama and Trump, I don't know the official scorecard, but there have been a lot of drone murders. And I know, there's reports that have said Trump is upping drone strikes. I mean, this is a machine literally going and killing people. It's not a great thing. There's reports that said up to 80% of the people that got hit by Obama's drone strikes were civilians. There's many reports saying that Trump is dropping bombs on many civilians. I want the truth. I don't have an ego. I don't have an agenda. Whoever it is, the president that's not helping, I want them to actually help. Whoever's lying, I want them to stop lying. If it's Trump, I want Trump to stop lying. If it's Obama, I want Obama to stop lying. But I'm not jumping off the train of, oh, everything's going, it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. I know a lot of even Trump supporters will say the deep state took over, they're doing their thing. It's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not, because you have to understand, Donald Trump is one person. And this would, regardless if Bernie Sanders won, if Jesus won, if Hillary Clinton won, if, The Rock won, one person, I try to explain this all the time, one person is not going to change the world. It's going to be a collective effort of the entire community. That's why we have to stop fighting about dumb things and get together on really important things. Because if 300 million people in the United States stop buying a certain food or stop eating a certain medicine or stop doing something dumb, the government will be forced to change because they can't run the economy without us playing into it. That's where the change comes. Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him, he's already done, this is just a fact, more stuff against the grain than any other president ever, because he's the only president in modern recent history that's actually trying to go against the grain. I mean, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Hillary Clinton, Bush, Clinton, notice the pattern, Obama, whatever. They were all just kind of going with the grain. They might have had smiles, they might have done a few cool things socially, and I appreciate them for that. Thank you for, doing some good things, but they were with the grain. Trump is against the grain. So even at this point, he's not going to be able to change the whole world. Even when it comes to wars, it's going to have to be us getting on the same page, figuring out what's really happening in Afghanistan, and then figuring out what a real solution would be. Because I don't even know what's going on in Afghanistan. There's multiple layers to it. Yes, there's war. Yes, there's terrorism, but there's also oil, I'm sure. There's also drugs and opium. I've heard many reports that there's a bunch of opium sales going on there. So the story's a lot deeper than most people want to, consider. And there's a lot of factors. If you just let certain terrorist groups get the oil or get the drugs, and then they sell the drugs, now they have a bunch more money and a bunch more weapons. And a lot of that happened in Iraq, as far as we just killed a president and then kind of went away. So we do need a smart strategy. That's just the reality. I'm very peaceful. It's going to be a multi-layered step, though. But I do want to say to people is that we have to be the collective change. Trump haters, Trump supporters, Trump, I want to tear down statue people. I want to keep statues up people. I don't really care. We all have to be part of the change collectively, because the world is never going to change until we all do it. So there's people on conservative and progressive and Democrat and Republican. We all need to do a little better. Stop pointing the finger. Yes, it's easy. There's terrible, neo-Nazis. There's terrible white supremacists. I get that. They've jammed it down our throat 10 million times, disproportionately, and got everybody freaked out. They never tell you when a white person kills a white person, because it just doesn't create enough drama. They don't tell you when a black person kills a black person. It's not in the news, because it doesn't create enough drama. They don't tell you when a Latino kills a Latino, because it doesn't create enough drama. They don't tell you when an Asian kills an Asian, or a Christian kills a Christian, or whatever. It doesn't create enough drama. They pick these certain events that they know are going to tear people across socially. You got, football players kneeling. Meanwhile, hundreds of millions of people are dying every year from heart disease because we just stuff our face and have horrible habits and have the worst food in the world, and nobody seems to care. We have the worst, I won't say the worst medicine, but the biggest opioid problem, the biggest pill problem in the world, people dropping left and right. Nobody seems to care. The news puts a microscope on one thing. And that brings me to my next point real quick, which is the statue thing. There were bombs today in Texas. Somebody was trying to bomb the Confederate statue. This is what happens when you give power to certain groups in the U.S. that they might not be loser neo-Nazis, they might not be loser, pathetic white supremacists, but that doesn't mean everybody's a great person. I mean, I don't understand how it's so difficult to double task for some people, and then they act like I'm mean and I'm nasty and I'm the enemy, when I'm literally just really nice and a little bit smarter and a little bit more friendly and a little bit more understanding and a little bit more honest. I'm not mean, I'm just keeping it real. I can double task. White supremacists and neo-Nazis are disgusting losers and they have no part in this country, but that doesn't make another group that's throwing little balloons of urine at random police officers and cursing and being racist to black police officers and are trying to bomb our, parks and do this and that. It doesn't mean those people are innocent. I mean, how dumb have we become to think that only one race or one religion or one gender or one shade of skin can do everything wrong, but then the rest of everybody else, there's no possible way. It's like, oh, I'm what the news says is an oppressed person, so I'm gonna bomb and blow up a statue and blow up people and throw feces in black cops' face, and that's totally cool because because the news lies and people agree with it. It's so dumb to any semi-rational, semi-intelligent, semi-kind, semi-nice, semi-spiritual, semi-loving human being. It's honestly laughable how people are acting, but I'm not surprised because I know the media spends $100 billion, maybe not 100 billion, but billions upon billions upon billions upon billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to divide people via race, religion, and gender, and they're doing here what they've done in other countries. They've done this. They've started civil wars. They've turned people against each other. They've exploited, a divide in the country, maybe a divide in this, and the fact that they have more money and power. So what route are we going to go down? Are we going to go down the smart route and realize, oh my God, it's a small group of individuals that are really distorting things, and then the rest of humanity, we got to get better too? Because that's just the reality. Every single job that I work at, every place I work at, there's definitely some cool ones. I work with great people now, but on the whole, there's politics in every industry. There's politics between everybody of race, religions, and genders. I see it all the time. Even when politics aren't present, there are politics because people aren't good enough. Collectively, that's going to be the revolution. I don't care what leader of what shade of skin or what person says otherwise. They're probably lying if their message is just stupid and negative, because that's just not the truth. It's going to have to be all of us. I don't care about statues, but no, you shouldn't be able to bring bombs to a park just because Mitt Romney and CNN said you're okay. Let's multitask. Anybody that commits a real offensive crime like violence or murder, they're a criminal. Anybody bringing bombs in the United States, they're probably a criminal. I mean, let's double task, please, because the news has done a brilliant job of convincing certain people they can't do anything wrong and convincing certain people, oh, you're grouped in with the worst people. I've even seen rappers and celebrities that I love and I appreciate and I actually thought were smart. They're grouping Trump supporters and conservatives and libertarians in with neo-Nazis and white supremacists just because the news lied to you. The same news that lied to you about the Middle East for 10 years, and you think you're a good person. You're not. I talk to people from every country, from all sorts of things, and these people, the hundreds of millions of people that live in the U.S., they don't think like that. You're out of touch. You don't know what people think of. People who have been to Colombia, they know what real oppression is like. They know what a real dictator is like. They know Venezuela, Iraq, Iran. I talk to everybody, and nobody acts like a privileged, dumb American, quote-unquote, liberal, for lack of a better terms, because you lack perspective. That's fine to not like Trump. That's fine to be against the wars. But it's like everything that he does, you want to do the opposite. Then we never get to connect on the good things. Like with Afghanistan, most Trump supporters are half in the middle because, they don't want war. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants racism. This is obvious. There's not 100 million, 300 million people that want to bring this back to the Dark Ages, but they're convincing one side that the other side wants to bring it back to the Dark Ages, so then they tear everything down and bring the Dark Ages. This is a self-fulfilling, manifesting prophecy, which is straight out of multiple propaganda playbooks. It's just like, convince people that they're doing the right thing and that they're acting on their own free will, and then they'll do it all for us. That's what they're doing to you. Manipulating us. So don't let them divide us. Don't let them confuse us. Let's all be better. Because if I spent my whole life pointing the finger at other people, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be on this level. I'm on this level because I point the finger at myself. I think about what I can do better. How can I help my community? How can I help myself? How can I stop messing up? How can I do this? If they create an entire culture of 300 million people who are like, oh, there's the neo-Nazi, there's the white supremacist, good. Wow, it's like playing Where's Waldo. Oh, you spotted him, congratulations, a pat on the back. We all know. Who likes white supremacists and neo-Nazis? I don't know a single person that I've ever met that has co-signed a neo-Nazi and a white supremacist. I've lived in West Virginia. I've lived in New Jersey. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've traveled around. I've never met somebody in my whole life, and I'm sure that they exist, but I've never met somebody. It's not this surging group of 50% of the United States. That's a complete lie. It's like a fringe group of 0.00001, and they're giving them more attention. They're giving the opposition more attention, which is bringing feces and bombs everywhere. I mean, they're socially engineering a civil war. So you're dumb if you're falling for it. You're dumb if you're a right-wing and conservative and you're falling for it. And you're dumb if you're a left-wing and progressive or whatever you want to call yourself. Either way, it's so foolish. I walk outside every day. I interact in real life. I talk to people from not every single day, but in the course of a week. Race, religion, gender, everybody just flawlessly works together and has fun and gives each other hugs and helps each other and goes to work. That's how my community works. I don't see all this BS. I only see it on the TV and on the news, and I know it exists. I know there's certain states where people need to get more, socially aware and whatnot. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but the fact to start grouping everybody together and grouping people like, oh, you like Trump? Oh, you're a neo-Nazi. Oh, you don't like Trump? You must be a communist socialist. It's a trap. And just because one side has celebrity support and the media support, it doesn't make you more right. It's like they're emboldening people to be so dumb. Talk to people. Have conversations with people. Most Trump supporters are not racist. Everything that they talk about, they lie about every single thing. They all lie, literally, the whole time. I mean, it sounds unbelievable, but there's 100 million people who already know this, but their voices aren't as loud. They don't have platforms. They might not be on CNN and MTV and MSNBC, but the bulk of the American people, and beginning to be the bulk of the world, is having a spiritual awakening. Love, real unity, not fake unity, and love conquers hate, but I'm going to hate everybody, and I don't know foreign policy, and I don't know national security, and I don't know people in the Midwest, and I don't know people in the cities, but I'm going to act like love trumps hate, even though I'm the most hateful, dumb person there. No, that's being a useful idiot. A useful idiot for the people who just puppet you. Take control of your own mind. Take control of your own communities. It's not a race, religion, gender situation. It's a good versus evil. It's a love versus hate. It's a true unity versus division. It's going to take sacrifice and communications from all groups. I mean, I thought this was obvious. So on that note, I want to say that I think that to wrap it up, Steve Bannon, I do believe that he might have just dipped out. He saw that Trump was doing something in Afghanistan that he didn't like, and he dipped out. Either that, or he saw the news and the media trying to completely engineer a civil war like they did in multiple other countries. So Bannon said, you know what, maybe I'll be more effective if I'm not at the White House where I don't have to be so politically correct and get attacked all the time. Maybe I can go off on my own and be my own attack dog and really try to hold the people down. So one or the two, I think. Bannon either got mad at Afghanistan or got mad at the mainstream media. Maybe, who knows, there's ego and whatnot involved. I don't really even know. I'm not a huge Steve Bannon fan or supporter. I've only seen, multiple things I saw what the news said to him. So to recap, I'm not a huge Steve Bannon fan or supporter. I just know that the news is lying about him because they lie about everything. It's like they try to make it like a Disney movie. This is the villain. This is the hero. This guy's bad. This guy's good. And they lie about everything. The people that they tell you are good are usually the people starting the wars. The people that they tell you are bad are usually the people being honest and trying to prevent the wars. So they lied about that. As far as Afghanistan, either the deep powers are getting their way in Afghanistan, or maybe it's a sort of negotiation. Call me crazy, call me whatever. I don't care. That's your own opinion. This is mine. I do trust Trump. I know even a lot of Trump supporters. I saw 50% of Trump supporters say this Afghanistan move, he's getting swallowed alive. I don't trust him anymore. Me personally, I trust him. I'll give him a year or two. I'm not going to give him 8 years and close my eyes. I'm not going to give him 7.5 years and close my eyes like I did to Obama, but I'm going to give him a little while, try to learn more what's going on in Afghanistan and what the proper exit strategy would be, because whether people agree with it or not, if the case is that there's terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS that own complete cities. You can't just leave them there. It sounds good in theory. Oh, we're gonna get out and have peace, but if the wrong people have power, then it wouldn't work out that way. So I trust him to clean it up. Call me bizarre, call me crazy, but not only do I trust that, I trust in the collective consciousness of people. I trust in the good of people. When we stop getting manipulated all the time, when we stop getting confused and having our emotions played with and having our, pre-thoughts and mentalities just be warped and manipulated and used, I think we're going to realize, hey, we're not all that different. We all like to play with our families. We all love people and, want safety and security and have fun and, make a living and whatnot. I do believe in the people more so, regardless of who won this election. Even if a tube of toothpaste won this election, I still would have faith in the world. I still would have faith in America, and I would have faith in the people. Call me crazy. I'm optimistic. I'm happy. I enjoy life. I appreciate every moment, and I see the positive changes happening while the news tries to say that we're tanking everything. It didn't start with Donald Trump. It just so happens that he's more against that system than ever. I don't know if he struck a deal with them. I don't know if he's caving into them. I don't know if he's wrong or I don't know if he's right. I'm going to study more. I'm going to see. But don't believe the hype about virtually anything. It's definitely a little suspicious that your John McCain's and a lot of your politicians are like, oh yeah, we're going in Afghanistan. That's never a great sign. But with everything, I think it's a multi-layered issue, and regardless of pro or con, I think that would be the honest solution. That's why I don't agree with groups trying to just tear everything down. You can't tear something down unless you have a plan to build something better up, or you're going to ruin life for everybody. It could definitely be a lot better, but it could be a lot worse. I was talking to my Lyft driver the other day, and we're both blown away. I mean, we used to be trapped somewhere 9 to 6. Now, if you're a driver, you can have your own hours and make decent money. I can get around. I don't have to take the bus anymore, the train. I took the bus, multiple buses, hours every single day. And now I'm taking a car for almost the same price. Life is incredible. The highlights of our incredible technology-filled society, water, food, shelter, all these incredible things that we're literally blessed. We're literally in the upper echelon of humans to ever live, to have all of these luxuries and all of these privileges. But nobody seems to be grateful. Nobody seems to care. People only like to manipulate the word privilege and all of these words and just make people feel bad, make people hate themselves, make people hate other people. That's their plan. I'm sorry. Call me a rebel. Call me crazy, but I'm strong. I'm confident. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I have love for the world. I don't hate myself. These are things that I feel, and I think everybody should feel. If any news source or celebrity or whatever convinces you to hate yourself and hate other people, they're lying to you. You're a self-healing universe. Look at the eclipse. Have your own eclipse. Life is good. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. I'm going to post my links below. I'll be back soon. I'm just trying to take a break, relax. There's news every day. I'm trying to really escape the madness and enjoy real life, because I like connecting with people in person a lot better than looking on Twitter and Facebook. Just 10,000 opinions. It's like the worst. But thank you guys for joining. You make it a lot better on here. I appreciate you. Have a good day.